Hi everyone, how are you? It's Christine from Yarn About Yarn, and I just want to welcome you to my little YouTube channel, and hope everyone is well. It's sort of I think it's the 20th of March today, but I've got a couple of finished objects that I thought I would have a chat about. But welcome everyone. For those that don't know me, yes, I'm Australian. I'm known in most places on the internet as Yarn About Yarn. So you can contact me, yarnaboutyarn@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram, Ravelry, Etsy, Made It, and website is www.yarnaboutyarn.com. Now, what did I want to say? If this is your first time here, welcome. It's pretty much unscripted, unedited, what you see is what you get sort of podcast. I have made a couple of notes, just sort of jotting down what I have finished so far this month and yarns I've used, that sort of thing. All my projects are on Ravelry. If there's anything that you want to know that you can't find on Ravelry or any of those sites, which I will link down below, just leave a comment. Leave a comment anyway and say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. When I first started this channel, the majority of my viewers were from the USA and India. And more recently, I have more Australians coming on board, I guess, as they find out about the channel. So first up, I wanted to show you my finished Apple Isle socks. If you've been watching the last couple of months, you'll know that I have subscribed to the Bombed Yarns monthly sock club, which is a mystery club for 12 months. So we know who the designers are, but we don't know which month that designer will be designing for or what their sock will look like. So these were from Kath Martin, who is also known as the Mindful Melbourne Maker. And she named them the Apple Isle socks. And also the other thing, every month, Sarah from Bombed Yarns is, we're using a different yarn. So this was actually 100% merino. So I'm really interested to see how that will wear. I'm guessing it will felt with wear. But yeah, we'll see. I don't remember now whether they were superwash or not. But yeah, so we've got the three colours. They were knit from the cuff down. I think there were two options for a heel, and I chose to do the what's it called? Rapid? No. Everyone's shouting it at me. Gusset, heel flap and gusset. So there were three colours included in the box this month, and then it was sort of up to us. Like the main skein was this pink, which is an absolutely gorgeous pink. And then the other two little mini skeins, which we could use wherever we wanted. I think I followed the pattern photography, which had the purple and the green. Other people have done, like, swapped them around or done the two socks differently. Mine are both the same. March's box has arrived. They tend to arrive in the middle of the month, and I have made a start, and I think I have actually completed one of those socks, but I'll chat about those a bit later on in the video. So that's my Apple Isle socks from Kath Martin and Sarah of Bombed Yarns. They used 267 meters out of my stash. I'm not on a no buy year or anything like that, but I am limited by space to how much stash I can have, and I would like to be using more from stash. So I just want to be conscious of how much I am using throughout the year. And I realized exactly how at capacity I am recently. For those that are more local, you might know I live on the far north coast of New South Wales. So recently we had Cyclone Alfred going up the coast. And what it meant for where I live, we were sort of getting that tail end, and we were getting lots of wind and rain. And I did actually get some rain come through these sliding doors, which meant that a lot of things were taken out of this room and waiting for it to dry out and then bring them back in. So it was a chance to go through everything and sort of to rearrange the room a bit. So you might notice there's a few different things behind me, and yeah, so hopefully I think I've got it organised so I do have more floor space, which I was seriously lacking before, and it just felt really crowded. It feels more open now, which is great, but it did show me how packed to the gills I am because I don't have a lot of space. I have a number of looms and weaving equipment, which is all big, bulky wooden equipment that takes up a lot of space. So I really need to like reduce, what I need to do is reduce my whips, because my whips actually take up a lot of space that I could actually be putting more yarn in. But anyway, so I am seriously trying to get through my whips. I think beginning of the year I had 21 whips. I am getting the monthly sock box every month, which I'm trying to keep up with. But in the meantime, I'm also trying to work on my whips and get them down before I cast on anything new, which is really difficult. But anyway, that's where we're at with Stash. So the other thing I finished this month was the snap hat that I was working on, which is a scrappy hat. I've made, I think this is number 5 or 6, that I tend to make them as a charity knit, and they're a great way to use up scraps. It's made with a number of fingering weight held together. It's a paid for pattern by Tin Can Knits, but you can see basically it's a reverse stockinette. So you might be able to see how I have a number of yarns together, and then either when I run out of that one yarn, I'll just attach another one, or if I get sick of it, if I think, oh, there's too much, you know, pink or blue happening here, I'll swap it out. And then I tend to make the pom-pom from the same sort of yarns as well. I feel like I'm losing my voice. That's my snap hat. Now, the problem with having multiple yarns together is you really have to make sure that you catch all the yarns, and I've noticed that I haven't, but yeah, just something to be aware of. And also my knots are popping through to what is now the right side. But the snap hat, I weighed it and the pom-pom, and using an average of, 400 meters for 100 grams of fingering weight, and a bit of maths with the weight of this, I used 420 meters. So just over a skein, basically. Fingering weight yarn went into that. So that's a great way to use up some of your scraps. And I'm actually thinking that that could be, if I do that into little jumpers as well. I'm thinking this year, in the past I've done charity knitting and it's been sent overseas. I'm thinking to do something a bit more local this year. So I've got a few things in a box, and maybe when I get a couple of other hats or little jumpers done, and then I'll send them down to Kogo, which is Knit One Give One organisation. Yeah, so that's my snap hat. So they're the only FOs I have so far. I did have some FOs in commission work, which I can't show, and I've also got another commission project which has arrived yesterday. So that has slowed down my designing. I think last month I was talking about a jumper that I would like to design, and I had done, this was a swatch that I'd done a number of years ago, and I'm using the same colourwork chart, but I swatched it again in these colours. It's amazing how different the chart can look in different colours. It's a bit of light coming through the window for that, but that's pretty true. And I was originally going to go with this, but the yarn is not as soft as what I would have liked. So then I swatched in some Bendigo Luxury, that I just had in stash in their 8-ply, but I don't have enough in these colours, so I ordered some colour, and so I will be making it in these 2 colours, which is the deep olive and the soft jade. So that's the Bendigo Woolen Mills Luxury 8-ply. These are 200-gram balls. There's about 400 metres on each one. So I've got, I think I ordered 3 of that colour. I'm trying to block the light. It's a bit darker than what it's actually showing there. I think I ordered 3 of those because I'm going to do sleeves, I think, will just be plain. And all the bands will be in that colour, and then that will be my contrast. I've got 2 of those ones. So that should be plenty, I think, to do that. So that is still on the cards, and when I get this other commission job done, I'll go back to the designing of that one. The other thing I'm working on is the March socks, which I'll show you a bit later on. You might see something else in the background that you wouldn't have seen before, which is behind my Sowry warping board. I have an Ashford 8-shaft table loom, which arrived last week. It arrived just after the cyclone, so I had to wait until this room was sort of dried out before I could actually unbox it and put it together. So I have got it together. I haven't cut the heddles apart yet, and I haven't warped it, but I do have been working on a warp, which I will be putting onto that loom in the next, I don't know, the next week or so I can sort of do some sampling on that. I've actually enrolled in Kelly Casanova's one of her classes, which is for 8-shaft looms. So she starts from the very unboxing and putting the loom together. And there are 2 videos that cover that. Those videos are available for free on YouTube, and I found them very helpful. There are instructions in the box for putting the loom together, which are quite good, but if you're not fully around what all the different parts of the loom are called, if you've never used a table loom before, some of the things I wasn't too sure about, and actually watching somebody else do it in a video was very helpful. It just sort of clarified exactly what part of the loom I was supposed to be putting together, and she also went into an explanation with some of the things about, you know, what that part of the loom was for and how it worked. So that sort of helped make a bit of sense out of that. So those 2 videos are available on YouTube for free, but they are also part of the course. So there's the unboxing and assembling the loom, and then she actually goes through making the warp and then putting the warp onto the loom, and then the samples. So there are, I think there's just some samples, and then there might be a scarf that's done as a sample. But yeah, I'll just follow through that at whatever pace I can manage, and I'll show you that as I do some more. You can also see, I don't know whether you've seen that wall hanging before, which is one of my Sowry. It's a triptych, so there's actually 3 separate hangings that I've got together, and there's another one just above here. My Sowry looms are in the room, but I've got them folded up because I do want this open floor space. So they're folded, and that's the beauty of the Sowry looms, like they can be folded and transported. So they're folded, and then I would just unfold as I weave on them. So I think that's pretty much it for now, and I'll see what's going on with this voice of mine. I will be back very shortly for you anyway, where I'll show you the March Sock Club box from Bond Yarns, and anything else that I may be working on in the meantime. Chat soon. Back again, it's the 30th of March. I've sort of changed the camera angle a bit. Just, I realised before when I used to film, I used to have the window in front of me. And then when I did the last clip, I've changed my desk. So now the the window is like beside me and the light was just, you know, a bit too much for some of the yarn I was trying to show you. So I've sort of turned around a bit and I don't know, we'll figure this out as we go. So I was going to show you the March socks, and this month the designer is Katrina Walzer, I'm pretty sure that's her name, known as Elephant Cat. Yeah, so, and the socks are called Falling for Socks. That's them there. So now when I opened the box, I must admit, there's sort of perhaps a better picture of the socks. I must admit I was a little bit disappointed because I just finished doing the February socks, which were a 2x2 rib with 3 colours. And you might notice that these are 2x2 rib with 3 colours. So I was like, oh, but then when I looked at the pattern, I discovered there are a lot of differences between the socks. And the reality is there's only so much you can do with the sock. So yeah, I got over that disappointment and I'm quite happy now to be knitting some more socks. So I have done the first one, which you can see here. It looks so long and thin, but I think most of that is because of the ribs drawing it in, and they are a shorty sock. This yarn is absolutely beautiful. This is actually a merino silk, I'm pretty sure. Let me find the card. Yeah, 80% superwash merino and 20% silk high twist. So yeah, and we have the 3 colors. It feels beautiful and soft, and yeah, I'm quite happy with it. Now these socks, the differences are, these are toe up. I'm not sure whether I've ever done a toe up sock before. I did have a little bit of a problem with the cast on, which you can see here. It's quite messy. This is the 2nd or 3rd time I cast those on, and the first time I thought, oh, I dropped a stitch, and then I did it again and I got the same sort of result. And I have started the 2nd sock. I haven't finished the 2nd sock. I'm still on the foot. And I got the same. So I don't know whether I'm just doing something wrong there, or whether that's what you get with that sort of cast on. It's the, let me tell you what the cast on was. Judy's Magic cast on. So I know there's a few ways of casting on for toe up socks, like the Turkish cast on, and I'm sure there's others, but I decided to go with that one that's in the pattern. And also the heel, which is, what does it say? I don't know whether it actually says what type of heel it is. I'm guessing it's a short row heel, and it's quite, I've got a few little gaps, and I don't know how well you'll be able to see them there on the camera. Yeah, one side is gappier than the other. But anyway, that's the Falling For You socks. So because they're shorty socks, I think I'm just about up to, yeah, I'm up to starting the heel. That's why I've stopped, because I need the time to sit down and do the heel all in one go. So they're not going to take long at all, being the shorty sort of more ankle socks. So I've probably got 2 weeks till my next box arrives anyway. So yeah, that's the March Sock Club socks from Bombed Yarns, and Elephant Cat is the designer for that one. So they're coming along slowly, just whenever I need a bit of a change from that commission knit I'm doing. And I'm finding, I don't know whether it's just an age thing that would have happened anyway, or whether it's because when I get these commission knits, I do spend a lot of hours every day working on them, treating it like a job. My hands have been really sore lately, and I'll quite often wake up with my fingers being numb and my hands quite painful. So to go down to a 2.5 millimeter for socks is sort of, yeah, sometimes I just can't do it. I'm just going to try and adjust this camera a little bit. It looks like it's tipping down, but anyway, I might just have to leave it. The other thing, I've sort of been in a real clean up sort of mode lately, like with my stash, and I've been going through some of my whips, and I went through them before and I did frog some, but there's been things that I've been looking at them and thinking, I've been so close to finishing, why haven't I finished? And one of them is the Party Cardi, which was my Advent project. That is the main skein that came with it, which I absolutely love. So the Party Cardi, I started knitting with the Advent. This is where I'm up to. You can see I've got the band done. I've got the lace on the lower hem done. I've got the lace cuff on one sleeve done. I've got a heap of ends. All I've got to do is the cuff on the second sleeve. Now, the reason I haven't done this is I don't like it. It's not something I'm going to wear. I tried it on the other day and it was just like awful. The length is wrong for me, for my body type. The colours are not something I will wear. I don't wear this sort of bright green and yellows and browns. They're just not my colours. So I'm like, what do I do? I've got this far and I've got one cuff to go. I actually thought about like frogging the whole thing, but like I said, they're not colours that I wear. I could, you know, use them for a snap hat, or as I was talking about last time, you know, holding skeins together to make a, you know, a scrappy sort of little jumper or something, which I might do. But yeah, so this is not going to get finished. Yeah, it's just not. And there is that whole sunk cost fallacy which crossed my mind. Like, I've put so much into it. I've just got one lacy cuff to go. But no, it's just wasting even more of my time. So that will not be done. I actually feel like I'm going to sneeze. Yeah, so that's not getting done. The other thing I was looking at is, like I've been saying for so long, how my stash is at capacity because of space. And I've been going through my stash and looking at the yarns, and there are some yarns that I am just not going to knit for. Like, I have to be realistic. Yes, I could be use that to knit for charity knitting or whatever. But the reality is I can only do so much knitting, and knitting at the moment for me is a job. So that takes priority. And then whatever time I've got left, I'm knitting for myself or for family. So I don't have that much spare knitting time to knit, you know, yarns that I don't really like. And I might like the yarn, it's just, you know, the color or something. So I've bought a couple of examples to show you what I mean. But what I've thought is I am going to be quite ruthless and go through my stash and destash it. And the way I'm going to do that, I think I spoke about it before. Like, I could put it up on Facebook groups, Facebook Marketplace. There's the Ravelry destash. But the problem with those is often when you first put it up, you'll get, you know, a lot of people messaging you, showing interest in that. And a lot of the time I don't have the time to sit down and go through 20 messages and reply to everyone, which is really unfortunate. yes, over a number of days I can do that. That's fine. But when you see a yarn destash and you want to buy it and you message the person selling it, you expect an answer back pretty quickly. So I just thought the easiest way for me to do that was to use something like eBay or Etsy. And I know there's fees and all that sort of stuff, but I just figure I'm going to try it. I do have an Etsy store, excuse me, where I sell my patterns. So I am going to start listing some yarns on my Etsy store and yeah, see what happens with that. I know there'll be fees to pay and that's fine. It's better than having the yarn sitting there and not being used. So there will be like some bundles of things together, like from my Hungry Caterpillar. I have a fair amount of that yarn left. So there'll be things like that, bundles of leftovers, or there will be other skeins. So I have bought a couple of things to show you the type of yarns I'm talking about. My yarns are all kept in Ziploc bags. So for instance, I have this beautiful silk cloud mohair silk from Shibui. Absolutely gorgeous. I have a full skein and then I have these partial skeins. So there is plenty there for someone to do something with, but it's not a colour I wear. And yeah, I've hung on to it because it is so gorgeous. So that will go up on my Etsy store. So there's things like that where there's, you know, either leftovers from projects that I've done, yarns that I've bought but they're not colours that I'm going to wear. I've become quite particular with colours I'm wearing. So I'm not going to knit those. There's other things like this one where it's just not, I'm not going to get enough wear. The time I put into making something and I'm just not going to get the wear out of it because the climate I'm in, I just don't need a lot of heavy knits. And I do have some for like when I travel, but you know, there's only so much of those I can wear. So this is the Manos del Uruguay Maxima. Absolutely gorgeous. And they are colours I would wear, but so I'm pretty sure that's a full skein, but I've weighed everything to put on my Ravelry so I can check that. Yes, a couple of skeins of that, which would make, you know, lovely hat, cowl, mitts, whatever. And when I went through my stash before and I looked at yarns like this and the Shibui and I thought, oh, this is just absolutely gorgeous. I'm keeping that. This is gorgeous. I'm keeping that. But now I've got to the stage where realistically, I'm not going to use it. So it's better off finding a home somewhere else. So I'm not sure when I'll start listing things in my Etsy store. It's at Yarn About Yarn and the link will be down below. But just keep an eye on that and it'll probably, you know, be a slow thing. It won't all get listed at once. And I will probably put something on my Instagram when I've got a few things listed on Etsy just to let people know. It will be Australia only for a couple of reasons. Postage is ridiculous and it's even more ridiculous international. And where I live, my closest post office, it's not actually a post office, it's an agency, which means they don't do international shipping. So if I want to post anything overseas, I have to go over the other side of town, which is not something I do that often. So yeah, it's just not realistic for those reasons. So these will just be Australia only. Sorry to anyone from overseas that was interested, but you're going to be paying a lot more in shipping to get a skein of yarn. So yeah, that's what I'm up to. I have been working through my whips. The latest one I've been working on, is the Hue Shift Afghan, and I think I pulled this out to work on the other day because I had a Zoom call, and I need something to keep my hands busy while I'm on a Zoom call, and I just wanted something that was a little bit heavier than the socks, just to give my hands a bit of a rest. So I pulled this out and managed to get quite a few squares done. I think I had 2 squares done, so I've done another. They're going to make, if you're not familiar with the Hue Shift Afghan, there's about 11 colours, and using 2 colours in most squares, except for through here where you use 1 colour. So this is the pink, this is the red. This square is a combination of the pink and the red, and the same that way. So I make 4 big squares, which will be 5 by 5, and then those are all joined together. And it's just the colours sort of, I don't know how to explain it, but it's called the hue shift. So the colours shift and change throughout the blanket, and it gives a really lovely effect. It's a Knit Picks pattern, and Knit Picks have kits with their, I think it's the Brava Sport at the moment that they use, and there's like a rainbow kit and a pastel rainbow and a earthy tone sort of one. I'm using the Bendigo Woolen Mills Classic, mostly because it's quite economical. I had a lot of the colours anyway. I think I only had to buy a couple of colours, and yeah, they have a great range of colours too. So I did start on one of the other squares. So I think there's going to be like a blue square and a purpley coloured square, and yeah, but they'll all, I'm not explaining it very well. That's what I've been working on. And yeah, I think that's about it. So yeah, keep an eye out on my eBay, Etsy store if you're interested. And if you want to get an idea of what might be coming up, you can have a look on my stash on Ravelry. I've pretty much got everything listed there, and I think there'll be a lot from that will be going up for Destash in the next, I don't know, week or something. So keep an eye on that. And I think that's all that I've got to let you know about. And yeah, take care everyone. Hope you get to do some of your crafting this week. Let me know in the comments where you're from, how you're managing your stash. I know there's a lot of people this year are talking about not buying yarn and knitting from stash, and yeah, I think we're all in the same boat. Let me know what you're working on too. I've been adding a few things to my queue on Ravelry if you want to have a look at that. And I think I've been quite good at not buying any patterns. There was a designer that was advertising on Ravelry. I think she had 25% off. She's released a new pattern. She's got 25% off that, plus all her other patterns. And I had a couple in my queue, and I think I've added another couple more. And I was so tempted to just go and buy 3 or 4 of her patterns to get that 25% off. But I resisted. I thought I need to get through these whips first, and yeah, not spend any money on patterns that won't be knit for a long, long time yet. So you can go and have a look at my queue. I've been trying to keep it. I used to queue so many things and have lots and lots in my queue, but that's been culled as well. And every time I go, every now and again, I'll go through my queue and things don't make the cut anymore. I think I've got 30 something in the queue, which realistically I could get done in a year or 2. But there's always new things coming out, isn't there, that catch your eye. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'm going to stop. And I may get a couple of things listed today. Otherwise, yeah, just keep an eye on either my Etsy store or my Instagram. Okay, take care everyone. Bye.